Hi, this is Scott Garibay, and today I want to talk about Dungeons and Dragons, and I want to talk about understanding where we can go with Dungeons and Dragons and what Dungeons and Dragons is. What is Dungeons and Dragons? I want to return to that question, and I want to try to illustrate to you again the difference between Dungeons and Dragons tables right now, and why you should transform your table from a Nova Ornament table to a Nova Beast table. All right, so let's get all the way there. Okay, so yeah, journey with me. All right, so I have been rewatching, so I'm extremely excited about Kingdom of the Planet of the Apes, and I think that there's so this. I'm a very different person. I actually think I do not believe in cycles. I do not believe we're repeating um, the mistakes of the Roman Empire, and that America's going to be doomed, and that there are these, and the turning of the keys, and all this. Oh, it's the same cyclical thing, starts and beginnings, and karmic whatever, right? I believe the world is fundamentally changing, and we have the opportunity to change with it. And I believe the most powerful catalyst, the most powerful secular catalyst in the world today, is Dungeons and Dragons. And I don't think people understand this, and I think every day the importance of what Gary Gygax actually created becomes even more key. Okay? So basically, and the biggest reason why is we're losing science right now. Right now, right? Like the great pandemic came, it shook the foundation of American belief in science as a beneficial thing. And right now, a lot of people are losing faith in science, right? Like we flew in 1903. We went to the moon in 1969. Now we can't get to the moon. And now, medicine, which everyone used to agree and used to sign on to, is this dark, feared, untrusted thing. We are regressing from a perspective of science. The science is better than it's ever been. What's worse is there's no ability for the scientific community to communicate what they learn in a way that's trusted, in a way that's understandable, and in a way that's simple. And so it means the work they do is worthless, utterly, right? And that means that, who's going to save our culture? Who's going to save American culture? Artists. And I believe that that narrators, dungeon masters, storytellers are the most powerful force on the planet, bar none. We're more powerful than militaries. We're more powerful than scientists. That used to not be the case. Even 20 years ago, scientists matter. They don't matter now. They do not matter. The Great Bandit fundamentally broke American trust in science. And that means we need people to step up and help save our American culture. And I believe dungeon masters are on the front lines of that saving line of humans. Okay? So, but there's this obstacle, right? So I'm saying, hey, I'm telling you right now, Dungeons and Dragons is the most powerful force on the planet, secular force on the planet, most powerful secular force on the planet, right? It can change lives. And I'm not the only one saying this anymore. Tabletop News just came out, was like, there's a school that's using Dungeons and Dragons not to help regular students, but students that have massive deficiencies in attention, massive deficiencies in resources, massive deficiencies in socialization, and saying flat out, Dungeons and Dragons is this powerful tool to change their lives. Like, I'm not the only one saying this anymore, right? Joe Manganiello said it flat out at the D&D Direct, like right through Wizards of the Coast, Hasbro, content saying, hey, Dungeons and Dragons changes lives. It's all over, right? But there is still this problem. There's this problem, and you see it everywhere on Twitter. You see people get very upset when you say, hey, Dungeons and Dragons is a powerful cultural force. It's something that can not only save secularly people, right, but our entire culture. We can literally remap what we believe we can do, and then what we're capable of doing by using powerful narrative. And nothing in the world gives people more control over the narratives they tell themselves, the narratives they tell their friends, and the narratives they tell their culture than Dungeons and Dragons. It is literally an engine for telling amazing stories quickly, right? And we need it because we are living in this world where like novels are outrageously antiquated, so slow to produce, nobody reads them. You know, it doesn't fit with our culture, right? But Dungeons and Dragons does, right? Because Gary built it to be this powerful. All right, I've been watching through the Matt Reeves Planet of the Apes trilogy, right? So Dawn of the Planet of the Apes, Rise of the Planet of the Apes, and War for the Planet of the Apes. In the final movie, the War for the Planet of the Apes, and I guess final movie is not correct because we're getting Kingdom of the Planet of the Apes soon, and actually in the new year, which is extremely exciting. So basically, we arrive at this point, right, where I'm watching the film, and the film perfectly illustrated the problem we have with Dungeons and Dragons right now. The ability for people to stop Dungeons and Dragons from being used to help people, right, in very real ways, right? And I'll explain how. So basically, in the film, Caesar is traveling to find this human general who has a huge force of human soldiers that he's going to use to wipe out the intelligent apes forever, right? So Caesar is going to find this general, right? And he has a group of apes with him, and they encounter another ape that it is not of their tribe, right? And that ape can speak and is highly intelligent, highly mobile, highly capable, right? But not of their group, right? And Caesar actually literally uplifted his group and made them intelligent, and then their children are logically intelligent, right? But this other group, he doesn't know where they came from. And so they encounter this ape, and he's played in the film by Steve Zahn amazingly. He does such an amazing job playing Bad Ape. And Bad Ape is a small ape, kind of a white, kind of a light colored fur ape. And he actually calls himself Bad Ape, and he says, "My name is Bad Ape." And it's just heartbreaking when you hear it, because you're like, oh my gosh, he thinks his name is Bad Ape because that's all the people who owned him ever called him, right? So he doesn't even know what it means, right? So he's saying, "I'm Bad Ape," right? And Caesar is traveling with a group of, he's got, the orange orangutan professor with him, and I think that's Dr. Oz, but I'm not sure what his name is in the film. And is it Marcus? I think it might be Marcus in the film. But basically, Caesar is traveling with these guys, but they have picked up this human child who cannot speak. And this is like, I love the Planet of the Apes films. I think it's brilliant content, right? And I think it really demonstrates the problem, very accurately demonstrates the problem we have with Dungeons and Dragons. I appreciate your patience. We're getting there, right? So basically, you have this situation where Caesar has these apes with him, and he has a human girl who cannot speak. And this is because the humans are actually regressing. They're losing speech. They're becoming like apes as the apes become super intelligent, right? And so but Marcus, so the orange orangutan who's with Caesar, he will not let this human girl go off. Caesar wanted to leave her, but the orange orangutan is like, no, we can't leave her. We have to keep her with us, right? So there's this little girl, and she's with the group, right? So they come across Bad Ape, and Bad Ape sees the little girl, and his heart goes out to her, and he's like, I want to show kindness to this poor, small human, right? And so he gets excited, and he runs over, and he grabs a Nova car ornament, right? He brings it over, and it looks like a long silver key, right? And he holds it up, and he holds it up, and he smiles, and he says, "Beautiful," right? And it is. It's the Nova ornament from a 1970s Chevrolet Nova, right? A classic American muscle car from the 70s, right? And it says Chevy 2 on it. It says Nova and Chevy 2 on it. And it's just a long, beautifully crafted car ornament. It's the ornament that went on the side of a Nova car, a Chevrolet Nova, which is a beautiful American muscle car. But Bad Ape just has this ornament. He doesn't even know. He found this in the city. It was just on the ground, right? He thinks it's just a beautiful piece of metal, right? Like a key, right? He thinks it's a key, right? And he gives it up. He gives it to the little girl, and she looks at it and she's like stunned. She's like, this is this beautiful thing, and it's been given to me, right? So Bad Ape and the human girl, right? They don't know what this thing is. They don't know that this is the ornament. This is the ornament on a classic American muscle car, right? They think this is shiny, this is beautiful, we can enjoy this. And that's exactly what is happening with Dungeons and Dragons right now, right? People are picking up the D&D, the PHB, the DMG, and the Monster Manual, and they say to themselves, this is a game, right? Let's play the game. Let's cut goblins in half, right? And I don't want to talk about the fact that, wait a second. Are you saying in 1974, Gary Gygax said you can live as many lives as a dungeon master will give you? The only way for seculars, to have multiple lives, let's forget the fact that this is an identity vessel, right? That you can be a different gender, you can be a different preference, you can be a different height, you can be a different body type, right? You can have different capabilities than you have. You can make any identity you want through Dungeons and Dragons, and you can escape the boundaries of your own identity. But you can also take the things you're most proud of in your identity and pour them into this, and pour them in, right? And it gets to this point where you're like, wait a second, you're saying, and Dungeons & Dragons is the most powerful secular exploration tool for identity that's ever been created, right? And it frees people from being stuck in one life. Can you imagine, being born in Alabama, right, to parents who discourage you from going to college, right? And you live in one town your entire life. Can you imagine it? Could you imagine that being your entire identity and you never exploring Faerun and Eberron and Exandria, right? You never experiencing what it means to be a woman if you're a man, what it means to be a man if you're a woman, what it means to be strong and capable, what it means to be, to be able to be so fast you would have sleight of hand, right? But also, no one else ever seeing you pour a part of your identity into a person and bring that person to life, right? It's this powerful vehicle. It's a vehicle that the knowing, the wise can enter and experience things that no one else can experience, right? And can cycle through identity after identity after identity and massively reduce the risk that you would need to learn who you are, what you can do, with options that would never have been available to you, right? Never, right? You can say, I don't like this preference, I don't like this gender, right? Like, or even have the ability to understand another gender, right? Like, what if you're a man and you really want to, to give an understanding conversation to a woman you love, or a woman you care about, or a woman you want to serve in a better way, but you don't understand them as a gender? What if you spent 9 months, adventuring as a woman? Would that teach you what it's like to be a woman? Yeah, there's a lot you would learn, no question. And so right now we have people who are picking up Dungeons and Dragons and going, oh, it's the ornament, it's the shiny ornament. And we're like, no, you have no idea what you're talking about. That's just the ornament from the side of the car. You can get in the car and go places and journey with the thing, right? Like, it can take you places. It's powerful. It moves, right? It's not just a shiny stick of metal. It's a whole vehicle, and you can go places with it. And right now we have thousands, actually low millions of people saying, how dare you tell me that this Nova key that says Chevy 2 is not the thing? It is the thing. Now you shut your mouth and don't you ever say that I can get in a vehicle and go somewhere with it. It's just a key. Stop saying it's useful. Stop saying it's powerful. Stop saying it can go 60 miles an hour. Stop saying it can hold 5 people and it can take them to places they've never been. Stop saying it can bring joy. Stop saying it's useful. It's just a shiny piece of metal. Bad ape, human girl, do not understand, lack of wisdom, right? They see the key, they see the shiny piece of metal, they see the ornament, and it's all they'll allow Dungeons & Dragons to be. And I'm begging you, please, please, don't let them win. Know that Dungeons & Dragons is not the ornament. It is the full American muscle car. It can take us places if we are allowed and not shut down by the people who are insisting Dungeons & Dragons is simply a game. It's so much more. Don't believe in the ornament. Believe in the full American muscle car. Every single word of that is my humble opinion. What's important is when I get to hear your humble opinion, when you get in the comments and send your traffic. Please consider liking and subscribing, and have a wonderful millennium.